Hi, everyone, and welcome to another Monday morning episode of the 1001 Business Problems Solved with Microsoft Teams podcast. I'm Annie Rind. I know I promised part 2 of our series on the other Microsoft apps that can solve problems for businesses, but it has been a little crazy around here, and I want to give that topic the attention it deserves. So, since extra time has been in short supply lately, and since it has been too long since we talked about reducing onboarding time, effort, and pain, I thought we would go there today. Onboarding is a real problem for a lot of businesses. You're paying a new employee while they are still learning, and let's be honest, they are usually not very productive yet. They may be smart, capable, and full of potential, but they cannot magically know where things are, who knows what, or how your processes work. Every extra day of confusion has a cost. It costs the business time and money, but it also costs the new employee confidence. A lot of new people quietly wonder whether they are failing, when the truth may be that the information they need simply is not easy to find. They hesitate every time they need to ask an experienced employee another question, because they feel like they are interrupting or they think they should already know the answer. That is one reason onboarding often exposes a deeper problem in a business's information. If a new employee has to ask 3 different people where to find a form, a checklist, a policy, or the latest version of a procedure, that is waste. It interrupts the people who already know how to do the work, and it slows down the person who is trying to learn it. And if that kind of important information is not easy for a new employee to find, there is a decent chance it is not as easy as it should be for your long-time employees either. At that point, you may not only have an onboarding problem. You may have a nothing has a home problem. In other words, the new employee becomes a stress test for the company's information design. But since we are talking about onboarding today, let's stay focused there. What if you had an onboarding home base in Teams? If you are a larger company, that might be a dedicated onboarding team inside your HR department. If you are a smaller company, it might be a single onboarding channel in the team where your staff already works. Either way, the idea is simple. A new employee should be able to click into one space and find the things they need to get started: forms, policies, procedures, training links, expectations, frequently asked questions, and anything else that helps them move from confused to useful. Now, a one-stop shop will not prevent every issue, mistake, or inefficiency in onboarding. Nothing does. But it can reduce a lot of the friction. It can shorten onboarding time, help new employees become productive sooner, and reduce errors caused by people guessing because they could not find the right answer. Over time, that onboarding team or channel should keep getting better. Every time a new employee asks a question you did not anticipate, that is not an annoyance. That is feedback. It tells you something should be clarified, documented, posted in the right place, or added to the onboarding material. The goal is not just to be nice to the new person, although that matters too. The goal is to shorten the runway between new person on payroll and new person contributing with confidence. A good onboarding structure helps the employee learn faster, but it also helps the company see where the gaps are. If every new person asks the same question, that is not a new person problem. That is a missing system problem. So, all of the obvious material should be available in that onboarding space: policies, procedures, forms, training documents, checklists, links, and whatever else the new employee needs. Some of those files may physically live in that team. Some may live elsewhere and simply be displayed or linked there. The new employee should not have to go on a scavenger hunt. But what about tribal knowledge? That is the part every business worries about, and rightly so. What about the knowledge that is not written down anywhere? What about the things that left in someone's head when they retired? What about all those little details an employee usually learns only by being around for months or years? Before Teams, capturing that kind of knowledge was hard. Unless you had someone walking around interviewing your most experienced employees and writing knowledge articles all day, a lot of that information just stayed in people's heads. But Teams gives you a better option, especially now that Copilot exists. When your work group has a subject matter discussion, that discussion should happen in channel posts whenever it reasonably can. If you do not currently use channel posts, I strongly recommend getting comfortable with them as soon as possible. Such juicy conversations should not live in email. They should not live in phone texts. And they should not disappear into private Teams chats if the information would help other people later. If your employees are discussing how to troubleshoot a particular HVAC unit, how to handle a customer complaint, or how to improve a process, that conversation belongs in the appropriate Teams channel. Once that discussion is in a channel post thread, it becomes visible to Team Search, and more importantly, it becomes visible to Copilot. That is one of the biggest reasons to use channel posts. They turn everyday work conversations into a searchable knowledge base. If those same conversations happen in email, phone texts, or private chats, a new employee usually cannot benefit from them later. The knowledge may exist somewhere, but for practical purposes, it is buried. We coach clients to use a simple rule. If a discussion could help a future employee, or even a current employee 6 months from now, put it in a channel post. That one habit can dramatically improve recall, reduce repeated questions, and keep important knowledge from disappearing into the weeds. So remember this: channel posts can become your company's living knowledge base. Now let's talk about the Copilot angle quickly. If you do not buy a full Copilot license for every new employee, and I know many small businesses cannot justify that, you can still get value from the structure. One option is for someone with a full Copilot license to create a Copilot agent that uses your channel posts and onboarding material as source information. That is a little more advanced, but it is doable for a good do-it-yourselfer. Employees who do not have a full Copilot license can use an agent that someone else built. And if you do not have a full Copilot license anywhere in the business, or if you are not ready to build an agent, you can still benefit from the knowledge base you are creating with channel posts. Teach new employees, and existing employees too, to search in the Teams search box. That search box is located at the top of the Teams interface. It is not conversational like Copilot, but it can still return very useful channel post threads, files, and related information. The employee may have to read a little more than they would with Copilot, but at least the knowledge is findable. So, if you want to improve onboarding, start with one question: where would a new employee go on day one to find what they need? If the answer is, they would ask someone, that may be a clue. Ask the follow-up question: should a human really have to answer that same question every time? Now, you may need a human to answer some important questions, but there are many mundane questions that could be answered self-serve in Teams. Pick one role, one department, or one repeated onboarding question, and give it a proper home. Put the discussion in a channel. Put the procedure in the right shared location. Make the form easy to find. Then, once the basics are organized, consider whether Copilot or a simple agent could help new employees navigate the material more easily. The big idea is simple: onboarding gets easier when knowledge has a home before the new employee needs it. I hope you found this onboarding session helpful. If you did, please forward it to your business besties. I'll see you next week. This is Annie signing off.